Hey guys, Mr. Tolman here. We're going to be talking about the Unit 5 End of Unit Assessment Review, specifically number 5C. Now, just like the exam, I'm going to have a bunch of different narratives, and I want you to just pick two of them to do. But there are a couple parameters that you need to do. Number one, you must define your variables. Number two, set up a system of equations. That means write two equations down, right? And then solve algebraically using substitution or elimination, but you can use graphing to check your methods, okay? So let's go ahead and take a close look at C. All right, so Andrea has a total of 36 coins made up of dimes and quarters. Okay, so this is great. I love this first sentence because total, that means equal sign, right? Equals 36. So I can already write my first equation, or at least where it equals. It equals 36, right? And that's made up of dimes and quarters. So right now I'm not sure, but I think these are my two variables, right? So the value of all her coins. Oh, this is great too. All her coins, that's another equal sign, is $5.85. So my other equation is going to equal 5.85. And I like to put the money sign on there too, because now when I talk about my variables, the numbers that go in this equation will have to do with money, right? So let's take a look at the rest of this. How many dimes and how many quarters does Andrea have? Okay, now I know for sure dimes and quarters are my variables, right? So I'm going to go D equals dimes and Q equals quarters. All right, so the first sentence, total of 36 coins made up of dimes and quarters. So D plus Q equals 36. There's one equation, right? Pretty easy. The value of all of our coins is $5.85. So this means dimes, so this is the number of dimes, right? So number of dimes, number of quarters, right? The number of dimes and however much that value is, right? So each dime is 10 cents, so we can 0.10 plus the value of a quarter is 25 cents, so 0.25 Q equals this. Okay, so now I have my system of equations, right? I have my two equations I'm going to solve together. Now, we can go straight to Desmos and figure this out, right? I can just plug both these in, I can exchange these variables for x and y, and then I'll have an intersection point, and I'll know exactly how many of each to do. But they want us to solve algebraically. So we can use two methods, right? We can use, if you love substitution, you can do that, which means you're going to have to solve for one of these variables, right? So I can just subtract q from both sides, and that would move the q over here. And then I would have d equals 36 minus q. And then I could plug that in for d, and we could solve. But that's a lot of algebra. That's a lot of steps, right? More steps than I'm willing to do. Sorry. I'm going to use elimination in this case because it's easier. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this entire top equation by negative 0.10, right? Because if I do that, when I combine these two, the d's will cancel out, right? So here we go. 0.10, and I got to do it to this side too. 0.10. All right, I'm going to rewrite this equation down below here. Oh, let's make it negative 0.10. Okay. I'm going to rewrite this entire thing down here after I've distributed this to each term. Okay, so this becomes really easy. It's just negative 0.10d minus 0.10q equals, if I multiply this by 0.1, all it does is just move a decimal point right there. So this becomes negative 3.60. Okay, now I'm just using elimination to solve this. All right, so these two cancel out. If I take 10 cents away from 25 cents, that just leaves me with 15 cents. So 0.15q equals I subtract these two. So this is 25.25. This is 2. And now all I have to do is on my train tracks, divide by 0.15 on both sides. And I should have an answer for Q. So Q equals, let me get out my calculator, also known as my cell phone. 2.25 divided by 0.15 equals, 15. So there are 15 quarters. Right? We know that. And I know that there's a total of 36 coins, so if 15 of them are quarters, that means that 11 of them, or is it 21? 21 of them are dimes, right? And let me show you how I figured that out. I took this first equation, D plus Q equals 36, and I just plugged the Q in, right? So D plus 15 equals 36. Remember, and this was my Q, right? So I just plugged this in up here. So I can solve this using algebra, right? Minus 15 minus 15. D equals 21. And there you have it. So that's how you solve it using elimination. Now we could also graph it and we could use substitution, but this is the method I prefer, especially if there's no coefficients in front of these two variables, because it's really easy just to multiply by one of these, right? So let me know if you have any more questions. I hope that helped, and I will talk to you soon.